G'day, Steve Byrne here. Today I'm going to be talking about using your legs, your hands and riding posture. So riding these cutting horses, I think our number one form of communication is through our legs. So the better you get at using your legs, the more success you're going to have in the show pen, the more you can communicate clearly with your horse. So I'm going to talk about legs, and I'm going to talk about also our hands and tying your hands and legs in together. So when I'm riding around, I'm trying to get all that motion to come from down here up. Okay, so it's my legs which is causing the horse's movement. So when there's no legs, in theory, then there's no movement. So I think of my legs as the go. The legs are the accelerator. Now, to be effective with your legs, like I talked about before in the quick tip, we want to have a good bend through our leg and have our stirrups short enough that we're not reaching for our stirrups. So we want our heels and our legs up underneath us. Okay? That way I can have good contact with the horse's sides, with his ribs. So when I ride around, I ride with a lot of contact. I'm not squeezing the horse, but I've got feel around the horse's body. That's, like I said, that's my number one or my primary communication. So when I want to use my legs, I'm going to think about turning my toes out. So this is just in a natural position. When I want to use that leg, that toe is going to turn out and you're going to feel the pressure start high in your calf and run down into your lower leg towards your heel. So 2 legs to go straight, 2 legs to go forward and 1 leg to turn. Rightio? So something you might try later on when you're on a horse is just to sit there, have your feet in a natural position there. I've got contact on the horse's sides, like he can feel my legs, but they're not active. They're not asking him to do anything. And then if I ask him to go forward, I'm going to start turning my toes out slowly and cause some motion. Okay? Then no legs, no motion. Rightio? So the other thing that I'll probably talk about now is if I'm pushing the horse around, if we're turning, then it's important I've got my leading leg opened up, okay? So if I want to go around to the right here, I'm going to open that leg up off the horse. And I'm going to turn the toe out with my left leg and push him around. So I want daylight on that leading leg, daylight between the leg and the horse's side, okay? I'll go around to the left here. So if I want him to come around over on his hocks, I'm going to get that leg off, turn the toe out with my right leg and foot and push him around. Okay? So the more that you practice that, the more you get your horse, broke to your hands and your feet, the more you'll be able to go and, teach him his position on a cow without having a big old fight with him. So the other thing is when I'm riding, my hands working in with my feet. So I just think of it as my hands are going to support, they're playing a supporting role to my legs, okay? So they're going to do what my legs do. So if this leg opens up, this reine's going to open up, okay? If this leg's open up, this reine's open up, this leg's pushing, this reine's pushing, okay? So we've got all that pretty clear. I'm going to walk forward now and I'm going to think about putting my hands where I want the horse's feet to go, where I want his front feet to go. So my hands are going to control mostly the front end of the horse. My legs are going to control mostly the back end of the horse. Okay? So if I want him to step forward and around, I want his left front foot to get under my left hand. Okay? in a forward motion. If I want to stop and back up, I'm asking his front feet to get up here underneath my hands. Come back here underneath my hands. I'm going to go forward. I want his front feet to get under my hands again. Okay? Now when I want to roll him over the hocks, the same thing. So you're going to bring your hands back here. I want him to come back over his hocks. So I don't want him to go out there. I want this foot to come back underneath my hand and underneath my foot. Okay? So that left front foot's coming back here underneath my hand. You want them to have the feeling that they're training you to put your hands down. Okay, I'm going to roll him back over his hocks this way. So this hand, this right hand now, is coming back here where I want him to put his front right foot. So I'm leading it back here, got my knuckles turned up a little bit. So it takes that rein out a little bit further, and I want him to come back under my hands. Okay, now my hands, I want to have them about shoulder width, okay? But I'm going to pull out a bit more rein than that, so I've got some more rein in here, some excess rein than what I'd need at shoulder width. So I'm going to bring my hands back to here. Now, the reason we want all this slack in here is that that's what gives us range of motion with our hands. So I'm going to say if I want to pull this horse's nose through with the cow, it allows us to bring his nose and bring my hand back here next to my hip and leave this one here in just a pushing fashion. Okay? So we need to be able to spread our hands. Okay? I'm going to lead him back through here. My right hand can stay down here just as a supporting rein, and my left hand can come back here next to my hip. Rightio? So we want to have that good distance in there. Another thing I see, you'll see at any weekend cutting, is the old lean 'em up. When we're leaning with the cow. I think the reason people do this, in fact I'm sure the reason people do this is because they know where they're supposed to be, but they're just not taking their horse with them. Okay, so they're leaning but they want to be back here with the cow, but they're not taking their horse with them. So I want to think about sitting straight up and down on the horse. Okay, there's not many times when I want my shoulders to become forward of my hips. Okay, so I want to sit straight up and down here. I'm soft through the spine, soft through here. I've got a nice bend through here. My hips are soft. My pelvis is rolled back slightly, just in a really comfortable position. But I don't want my shoulders coming forward of my hips. Rightio? It's really important. So I'm not going to lean forward if the cow goes and you're meant to go. I'm not going to lean forward, I'm going to use my feet to go, okay? I need to take that horse with me. You've got to kind of get in your mind that the horse's feet are your feet. They become your feet. So, if you're on the ground and you're working cattle, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't lean when you're going to block a cow over here. You'd just take yourself there. You'd walk there, wouldn't you? Or run. But you're not going to lean there. So we want to sit straight up and down on our horses. I'm going to walk around here a bit and talk about the different parts of the horse. So I've got his nose pointed to the inside of the circle. Got that rein coming across the wither. So to me that's like blocking his shoulder a little bit. It's helping me get a nice bend through my horse. And my legs are propelling the horse forward. I'm not squeezing the life out of him. They're just on there, they're active. Okay? Now I'm looking for lightness here, not speed. But if he is heavy to my feet, I might have to bump him forward a bit to get some life, to get him thinking about my legs a bit more. Come back to a walk. So he feels nice and light there to my hands. Turn him back in here. So when I want that shoulder to come, I'm opening that rein up. I'm inviting that shoulder to come back through here. Okay? If you thought about doing maybe a counter arc, then I'm going to tip his nose back here. I'm going to bring that hand over his wither, and I'm going to push the shoulder over with my left leg. He was very light there, so it was more about slowing him down. Same here, I've got this rein opened up, I'm inviting that shoulder over there. I've got this right rein up over the wither, so he's leading with his shoulder. Same thing if we're coming back, I'll come back towards the camera and more like a half pass, so I could push his shoulder and hindquarters to the left and have him leading with more with his nose. If I push him forward to the right, got my left leg back to push those hindquarters over, right rein blocking his shoulder or slowing it down, and this outside rein just slowing everything down, keeping it lined up how I want. So at the end of the day, we're just looking to have control of the horse's body. His nose, his shoulders, his ribs, his hindquarters, his forward motion, his back. So we can teach him his position on a cow and not be fighting with him about it. So that when we put him on a cow, we can leave him alone. We can make that a comfortable place for him to be when he's on a cow. But the moment we go trying to train him and shape him and do all that stuff while you're on a cow, then you're in his way. You're not helping him then. So I find I can do a lot with my legs, a whole lot with my legs, not so much with my hands. And I keep the horse, where he's happy with what I'm doing to him. Okay, so to wrap up, we want to have a good wide bridge in our hands with the reins. We want to think about riding from my legs up and push the horse forward. The hands playing a supporting role to my legs. Having it so your legs become your primary communication with your horse. And get your horse as broke as possible to your hands and feet so that when you go and work a cow, you're not having a big old fight with him to try and teach him his position on the cow. Thanks for listening. Happy cutting.